this show was started with having someone like you share their stories so people can understand that, where we start and the things that we've gone through don't have to define us for the rest of our lives, man. And I'm extremely grateful you sat down with us, that you took some time early in the morning in Vegas, and Channing made it as well, man. So thank you, bro.
Hold up, limitless, take a stomach, kind pinning it. I fought to hear to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision I can trust. Limitless, take a stomach, kind pinning it. I fought to hear to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up.
Back on the pivot, we got Channing, Freddie T. We got a special guest. I think our show was created for people like Darren Waller, for people who have overcome adversity, come out on the other side of it, and actually use their story to help other people. We're gonna be honest, Darren, man, you're a special guest. Here's why. First of all, it's the earliest show we've ever done, right? On top of it being the earliest show we've ever done, we're in Vegas. And though I'm extremely professional, right? And I wanted to make sure I was in the right state of mind to host. Maybe some of us aren't the best.
No, we're good. We're pros.
Yeah, we're pros.
We're consummate pros. We know how to do this. This is my thing. It's the off season, and we're in Vegas. It's 8:30. I don't know what time it is. It's something like that, bro. What's up?
You trying to figure out why we so early? My dog gotta get his teeth
I gotta go to
cleaned.
the dentist. I gotta get my Invisalign. I got my last tray.
That makes sense, but it's the off season. Like, we could have done it afterwards. This is late for you.
Yeah, I be up. Like, I'm scarred for life. I be up early.
See, but a lot of people don't understand, as a pro, you're up, if it matters to you, 5:30, 6 a.m. in the building. Your day is, already jump started and almost halfway done by the time they get rolling.
Right.
But that's the cost of being one of the best in the game.
Yeah, even in the off season, like the first day of the off season, I remember I didn't set an alarm and I woke up and the sun was out and I was like I gotta be late, like I'm supposed to be somewhere. Like, you just have that feeling, like if you wake up late during the season, it's like, damn, like that's probably 15,000 or something like that.
Right. Hey, first thing your mind go to is money loss.
That number, that number gonna hit.
It's money loss. Doug, we see you now, right? One of the best tight ends in the league. I say it every time I get an opportunity on ESPN that I think you're the most talented tight end in the league. But what was a young Darren Waller like? What kind of football player were you, but also what type of person?
I always played quarterback growing up right till I got to high school. So I was very, into the game from all aspects. I was always watching, I was addicted to NFL films when I was a kid. So I was always watching the history of the game, old players till now, and just studying them. So I always knew the game. I wasn't very big when I was younger though. I didn't hit a growth spurt till my junior year of high school. So I feel like I had the skill and the mind, but everybody was moving too fast around me. So when I was younger, I knew I could, at some point I was gonna be good at football, I could show it, but right now it's it was too tough. But I mean, I was just really lanky, I could run, I could tackle. I played safety in high school. I didn't play receiver.
How tall were you?
I was 6'5" my senior year.
Playing safety?
Wow.
Yeah. 6'5", 117.
Right. I couldn't miss 135 till my senior year of high school.
Darren, nobody says I want to be a tight end, do they?
Nah.
Tight end is, you're either, you know what I'm saying, you're a receiver or you're not a receiver.
It's hot now though, but before nobody would say that.
But it's glamorized now.
Yeah,
I mean,
different now.
You got Travis Kelce, Rob Gronkowski, yourself, just to name, the top guys in the NFL. So I think these young kids, just seeing you guys and seeing how
tight end's not
it's
sexy.
a new NFL.
The girls don't see it and say, "Oh, he's a tight end." Fred, that's not
Yeah,
special.
growing up, it was you had Jeremy Shockey. I was a Jeremy Shockey. My dad was a Giants fan, so I like Jeremy Shockey, but tight end before was just a big burly position. It wasn't really any
It's
kind
a
of
glorified offensive tackle.
Right.
So
But this dude, bro, we was walking down the hallway coming here.
Yeah, we both were like, oh my God.
Bro, I'm looking at you, and I'm like, this dude is big as hell.
Hey, so he mentioned Shockey, right? So Shockey was drafted the same year I got to the Giants. He ended up coming to camp late. You know what I'm saying? He held out, he comes to camp, and y'all know how it is. Y'all know how y'all do rookies. Everybody has to sing. So as soon as he gets to the lunchroom, everybody's like, all right, Jeremy, all right, Shock, you got to sing. So he's like, I'm eating. I'm not going to sing right now. Brandon Short was like, nah, you going to sing right now. So Shockey gets up on the chair. You got to say name, school, signing bonus. He sings, and when he's done, he's like, good enough for you? Right? He tells Brandon Short that. So Fossil's in there. Brandon Short walks across. Bro, Shock hops off the chair. They get to scrapping. Table breaks, everything in the lunchroom, right?
They fought in the
lunchroom. Fossil runs over, though. Like, oh, no. So Brandon Short gets up, and this is when I knew the league was different. He got up, and he goes, oh, we got one. Like, he needed to see that.
And that was day one?
That was day one, bro. That was his first day. But you played receiver, though, first.
Yeah, I was a receiver my first year in the league.
So Georgia Tech, you was a receiver too, right?
Yeah.
What happened? Like, why did that move take place, though?
My rookie year, I was getting up to like 242, and I was like playing gunner. I was running on special teams, like, but still playing receiver. So they were like, at the end of the year, they were like, all right, we're thinking about moving you to tight end. And I was like, all right, like I get it, because I remember coming in, there was this coach from New England that gave me like a private workout, and he said, you could either be a good wide receiver or a great tight end. I never forgot him saying that to me. And so when they said move to tight end, his words came to my mind. So I was just like, all right, let's do it. I've changed positions a million times anyways.
You're an all-pro tight end, but your story is bigger than that, right? Your story comes from having addiction, fighting addiction, and I would have to think fighting addiction every day. I don't necessarily know if that's something that goes away. Why and how did that start for you?
I like what you said about it's a continuous battle. Like today, it may not be like wanting to use or wanting to drink or nothing like that, but it's like other addictive behaviors that could replace it. So, but yeah, for me, it started when I was 15. Took painkillers for the first time, like oxys, like anything you get from a surgery. And it was just, I was hooked from there, because at that time it was, football wasn't really popping. I was riding the bench on the freshman team, or if I was playing, like I got hurt, I was in the cast all the time, so people was kind of making fun of me for that. And I tried to put my identity in football, so it wasn't really working. So I came across those pills, and I was like, oh, this makes me feel good. Like, and nothing else makes me feel like this. So from there, I just, never stopped. It went on for like a decade, through being arrested 3 times, failed at least 100 drug tests in the league, at least 100. Because
you failed 100.
So I mean, if you look at the math,
Hey, Darren,
bro,
the math ain't mathing, bro.
Nah, let me. So I came in the league in the drug program because I failed 2 tests in college. I was about to get kicked out of college, and you get 10 tests a month in the NFL drug program.
Okay.
So 2 weeks of 2 tests is 4. 2 weeks of 3 tests is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10, and I'm getting tested that many times a week. I'm still getting fucked up. And so I'm still taking tests. Like sometimes I would like drink a couple detox drinks in a day and like go sit in the sauna for like an hour and a half and drink gallons of water and see if I could beat it. It became like a sick game almost.
What is that feeling like of knowing you're going to get tested and not being able to stop the action that will make you fail tests? Like not being able to stop like taking drugs or drinking.
It's like a war on the inside, like Lord of the Rings, where they're like running down the hill at each other. It's like a war going on inside. Like, I don't want to let these people down. I don't want people to think I'm this or that, but at the same time, like, I can't stop and I need this, like, to, function and just be at peace and not just completely psych myself out. And so, yeah, it's just a constant push and pull and paranoia, because there'd be a FedEx envelope in your locker if you failed a test. Mm-hmm. So I'll come in the locker room and be like, I seen the FedEx envelope, I'll just kind of keep it moving, just kind of walk around, go to the weight room or go sit in the sauna, or just like, kind of not want to be there. And then like when nobody was around, I'd like rip the paper up and throw it in the trash.
So how would you feel knowing that, your teammates are depending on you, and they know what the FedEx is, when it's sitting there, and I know they'll say, this guy is fighting his own demons. But how do you think they felt when they saw those FedEx envelopes?
I don't know, man. I mean, it couldn't have been anything good, but I never really got confronted by anyone or anything because my behavior was never really loud. I was always really quiet, and that could play to my advantage. And I could be like respectful at the surface, have a conversation with you here, but I'm also like, I was like very cerebral with how I moved. Like, I knew me being in the drug program, them knowing I'm in the drug program, I'm not hanging out with nobody outside the building because I'm not trying to have that conversation. I'm not trying to be confronted on that level. It was only one teammate I had that I would hang out with outside the building and do that with.
Did he know that you were doing?
Yeah, he was doing it with me, and he's no longer with us because of what we were doing. So it's just like, yeah, but
he's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Could you say the name? Like,
Oh yeah, his name is Lorenzo Taliaferro. He was a teammate of mine. That was the only dude I would hang out with in Baltimore. We would always, talk about how, we gonna stop and, how like we were doing what we were doing, but we didn't really want to do that shit. Like we didn't really enjoy it. Like we was like, all right, like, we're gonna stop. Like, but for me to be like, all right, I'm gonna stop Wednesday, and then I'd be like, Wednesday will come, and I'll be like, nah, I'll stop Friday. Then Friday would come, and I'll be like, nah, I'm gonna go through the weekend.
But on Monday though, I'm gonna be a different man.
Monday sound better.
That went for months and years.
Under the influence?
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
I mean, I felt like it was working to my advantage, but it probably wasn't. But it was just like a lot less anxious thinking. Because I was overthink things, and you can't really do that. You gotta go out there and let your body do what it does. But I mean, I thought it was to my advantage, but it was just a lot quiet. But I think it was really just the numbing of it. So when I was out there on the field, I remember during games I would be yawning because I'm like, I didn't really enjoy football because I made it this thing to please other people. It wasn't the joy that I had when I was a kid. So I remember games where I was yawning. I'm like, why am I'm yawning in a professional football game where somebody could put me to sleep at any second.
I had some of those moments, but it was because of Toradol. Early on they would just have the Toradol and they would call it the T train. Get in line and everybody get their shot. In the first quarter, after warm up, I'm just sitting on the sideline and I'm yawning like this is crazy. Then eventually I was like, this can't be good. So I shut down the Toradol and things would pick up for me. But those were crazy moments, man. You're just sitting there, 80,000 fans around, and you're yawning as if you're about to fall asleep right there.
Like I feel like that would scare me. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm in the stadium, because I was always trying to be so hyper focused on my job. Like and I guess I was more so running to it than running away. When you said like you were doing things to not be anxious, and you were introduced to whether it was painkillers and these things, did you feel like you were doing that to escape something? Was it about taking yourself from what you were anxious about and bringing yourself to something else?
Yeah, it was definitely an escape because just my reality in my head was that I wasn't good enough, or I was like, too weird when I was a kid, or just way different than everybody else. So I always associated me being different with something being wrong with me. Whereas today, like I can see me being different is, what makes me unique, or what is gonna help me.
What do you mean, like being different though? Like you seem, like other than being like an extremely abnormally large human, you seem very easy, right? You seem very normal to me. When you say being different.
So when I was younger, people of our skin color used to just rag on me because of the way that I dressed or the way that I talked. The kids in my neighborhood that I first made friends with when I moved to Georgia were white, but I wasn't really looking at it like that. They was outside playing sports and shit, so I was like, I'm trying to go do that. But I'd always be like the brunt of jokes. And so it was just like, man, like I don't feel like, I can't change that I'm black. Like, and somebody tell me I'm not black enough, it's like, it just left me in a weird place. And then it's like, if you go to school, I'm in like these advanced classes, I'm the only person that looks like me in most of my classes. So it's just like, everywhere that I go, I'm like, what's wrong with me? Why am I the one that's the odd one sticking out? So it's just like, and that would carry over to everything that I did. So football, I was like, I was never good enough no matter what I did. So I was always trying to overcompensate or please people through anything that I did. And alcohol and drugs gave me that ability to just kind of cut that off and just numb out and just push people away.
Is it gone now?
Yeah.
You seem like you want to appease people. You want to,
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
fit in. You know what I'm saying? Like all of us want to have an identity as a human being. Is it gone now?
It's not as obsessive as it once was. Like at a base level, everybody wants people to be proud of them or respect what they do. Like I still have that, and I still have my moments where I do want to prove something to somebody or show somebody I can do certain things, but it's not what it once was. What it once was is like that shit. It controlled me. Like
how often during the day did you think about other people's perception of you?
It was throughout the day, man. It was
all day.
It was literally like, for me, I remember one time somebody was like, start with writing 10 things that you like about yourself. I could name one, and it was that I could out-drink you or out-snort you or out-pop you or something like that. It was nothing that I liked about myself. But if somebody else said that they liked something about me, then I was like, okay, like somebody else verified me, so then I could feel good about myself. That's how bad it was.
I want to go back. You said around 15 is when you started. What were those influences? Was it attention, trying to feel acceptance, bullying, peer influence, people around you? What made you take the pills?
It was some peer influence involved for sure. It was guys that I thought were cool, and I'm like, all right, I'm trying to do what's cool. I'm trying to do what everybody else is doing, and and it was just kind of like I always was like the kid. I was like, I'm not going to do drugs. I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do any of that. But in that situation, the way that they said it was like, this will make you feel good. Like we feel good off of these, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to feel good. Like I feel like I ain't felt good in a minute. And I'm like 15 years old. That's kind of scary.
It's kind of really early to feel like you haven't felt good in a minute. Like that's a very short period of time.
I see 15.
And those guys,
15.
Those same guys, you are they around? Do you know what they're doing, what they're into?
I still communicate with one of them today.
Wow.
Still homies, but it's like I don't hold nothing against them,
Right.
because I've done the same thing along my path, telling people like, oh, yo, do this, or like, getting people to drink or that never drank before, and it's just like, I don't hold nothing against him.
Are they excited for you, knowing what, the adversity that you've gone through, the near overdose, that life-threatening experience? They excited for you? They come to games? Or?
He's never been to one of the games out here, but we still remained in contact this whole time. He's kind of like amazed. He's like, I didn't know it was that deep or it went that far, because we would just, we would just like do that and like watch movies or, just kick it. We wouldn't do nothing crazy. So it's like, but nobody knew like when I was by myself, the depth I would take it to.
What was the low point? Is it nearly overdosing? Like whatever got you to a point where you said like, damn, Darren, like I got to stop this?
Yeah, no, it was one day in particular. It was August 11, 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
he know it, bro.
So to set the context, 2017, June of 2017, I was banned from the league for at least a year was the words they used.
Okay.
And
that's because you failed 100 tests.
Because I failed a bunch of drug tests. Yes. Yep. Do the math. And so we're talking maybe 2 months after that test, I'm doing cocaine now. Like I'm doing more like, I'm not like, it wasn't like I got suspended, let's get right. It was like, I got suspended. I was saying like, all right, I need help. I'm gonna do this, and this, but my actions didn't match. Like I would still just go to the bottle or go to, whatever I could pick up. And that lasted about 2 months. And then I knew I was moving out of my apartment in Baltimore because I wasn't gonna be on the team during the season. And this was the day they were having their first preseason game of training camp. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get high one more time while I'm here. Like, I go and pick up, but people have been telling me that pills get pressed, especially in Baltimore. It's a scene where it could be fentanyl, it could be something, and it's not going to be what you thought it was, but they can press it and make it look like it's what you usually get.
Okay.
And so I picked up, did what I did, then I went to the store, I was going to get some beer or something, and I pull up in the parking lot. I try to get out the car, and I'm like, I feel like I'm going to like pass out or throw up or cause a scene, so I'm just going to get back in the car. I just kind of sat there. I didn't feel like moving for a while. Then it was just like somebody just like pulled the plug out of a TV. Like if you ever playing video games, you're not supposed to. Your parents pulled the plug out. Yeah.
Really?
Then I woke up. It was like nighttime, and I was like in a cold sweat, just like feeling like my organs weren't working properly or something, And then you go forth. I just kind of like drove home, and I was just like scared from that because I always thought I was in control. I could always manipulate these tests or what I'm telling people or the coaches or anyone, but I couldn't fool myself in that moment. I was like, I'm not in control of this. Like this is just almost took me out for real. So from that day on, I ain't touched nothing since.
You have that experience on August 11th, 2017. And just that simple experience is what got you clean, or what were the next steps after that?
This is how I know, like, I feel like God was at work, because right after that, the Ravens doctors called and were like, yeah, we're looking at your toxicology results. Like, we're scared for your life, basically. So, like, we suggest that you go to, like, a rehab facility. And they connected me with this dude. It was a facility in College Park, because I was in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. Went there, The dude did the evaluation on me. He was like, yeah, you need to go to rehab immediately for not only like drugs and alcohol.
Was it just like talking to you evaluation or like basically the toxicology report and all that stuff?
Getting the toxicology results, taking some tests, answering a whole bunch of questions. And he was like, yeah, you need to go to rehab immediately for drugs and alcohol, but also like mental health, like anxiety, things like that. And I was paranoid, so.
And the realism, because a lot of people like nowadays, the mental health thing is so big, like people talk about it, and I think it's at a point where some people overlook it, but you've seen it and you've lived it.
Right.
Like that part of it, like talk, you know what I'm saying? I just want to, you know what I'm saying? We like to have free game here.
Yeah.
Like talk to people about that. Like that the mental health thing is real.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you've been through it. What would you say to anybody that has that thought in the back of their mind? That thing where you were like, hey, I couldn't stop this.
Right.
And they say you have to go to this immediately. Like you have to be there. Like the mental health thing is a real thing.
Yeah, I feel like anybody that feels like they have an issue, they got to get a therapist for sure. Like I still talk to a therapist once a week, but it's not so much like it being crazy or like there's something wrong with you. It's more so like, I think of it as like putting puzzle pieces on the table. When you talk to somebody, it's like the pieces are on the table. And then from there, they may help you like put the pieces together. Like you still end up making the change for yourself. They just help you see it better and help you like formulate a game plan. But if you're not talking to anybody, you know, the way that your mind has been shaped and warped through depression or whatever you're dealing with, like that's all you're gonna think is negative thoughts. So you're gonna find a way to twist something into it not working for you. Like for me, I was like, I need to go get help. I need to go to rehab. Oh, no, they're gonna think I'm crazy. So fuck that.
So are you in the program now?
Drug program?
Yeah, with the NFL.
Nah, I graduated
You say he graduated.
I graduated last August before training camp. They sent me the letter, and I was like, bro, I was proud, you know?
You
like,
should
for
be.
real.
You should
it's
be.
like, I mean, little things like, I remember when I stopped like just lying to every single person. It's just like, a lot of people would be like, well, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But for me, I'm like, you don't understand.
That's a huge
like,
accomplishment.
Yeah,
Right.
Right, and with that, you know, and for people who don't understand, you know, the NFL program is very rigorous. Like it's a big, it is demanding, and they try to make sure they provide the resources to keep you in line, right? So that's the structure. You're gonna retire someday. You're not gonna be playing, you know, and you know, it's probably gonna get harder. You know, you're gonna have those challenges. Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I think about that, you know, when things kind of shift, like once you get into like an off season or, you know, I was out for like 5 weeks this season. And it's just like, it's different because you're used to having that structure and you're used to, you know, any kind of emotion or things built up, you're running around, you got practice, walk through, lift, like you can get all that stuff out through that
Your
activity.
routine, right.
So when you don't have a routine, you got to be just as meticulous of creating a new one, creating a new structure. So
we've all retired, and you know, while you're playing, you know, they have so many different statistics of what guys are doing when they're retired, divorced, broke, these other stats, and it's a transition that if you're not prepared for, you know, you can succumb to it. You know, it's definitely not easy if you're not prepared. But you have to prepare for that, much like you prepare, you know, for a game.
Right.
And it's going to be tough. You'll have those moments, you know, when that structure isn't there. What did you do when you were out, you know, to keep yourself, you know, focused and not get sidetracked? I hear you randomly wake up and feed the homeless.
I do like to serve. For me, like what I do personally, just meditation, prayer. I make music, you know, I record at my house, make beats, read a lot of books.
You can hook us up with a new intro song.
I know we need a new intro, right? By
Got it.
Darren Waller.
Listen,
we have it at the end
we
of
ain't
the
gonna lock in though, because I don't know if his beats is fire. We gotta hear something, Darren.
We can send some trials through.
Yeah, we can rock with that.
But I honestly feel like I had practice of like being away from football when I was out for that year. Like after I left rehab, you know, I came home and, you know, I was going like recovery meetings and stuff like that, but I was working at Sprouts. I worked at Sprouts for 7 months. I was a grocery clerk. I was stocking shelves.
Hey, Tom, I'm gonna cut you off.
You
bro.
the biggest grocery clerk.
hey, Cash, I know
Hey,
Cash
Darren,
like, Cash was
can
like,
you
you
put
don't
that?
hoop?
Can you put that
That's what
bottle
they
on the
say.
top?
They would
Yeah, I
say-
got you.
They would say, can you get that water off the top? Or they'd be like, why aren't you on the field somewhere? And I'd be like,
Right.
it's a long story. I don't really have the time to
So
explain it to
you were
right now.
only a clerk. You wasn't a stock boy, because I imagine you putting up.
Oh yeah, I was going to back stock and putting stuff on shelves, and I remember when I got the job, the store manager went to church with my parents, and I was like, I need structure. I need to go over there and just swallow my pride. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm the George Tech. I'll be assistant store manager. It was like, oh no, we need a grocery clerk.
Right.
I was like, I'm bagging groceries if we get busy at the front, like, so that was like humbling for me, but it's like it also gave me a sense like I can serve people. I feel like I can feel good about the work that I do no matter what line it's in.
Right.
And it kind of helped me, detach my identity from football, because at that time, for 6 months of that suspension, I didn't even want to go back just because of the state I was in and how I was feeling and how anxious I was. I was like, I don't want to go back and play. But eventually, through my training, I was able to fall in love with the work of it and not trying to please people. And then that turned into me wanting to go back. And it's like now today, like I don't feel like I need to please critics or coaches or anybody that's evaluating me. I can just connect with the joy that I had when I was a kid and just roll with that.
And bro, you a dog. We all know, like,
Now he can flat out go.
Yeah, you would have hit me for 14 catches,
Like Tony Gonzalez?
198 yards. Tony
Did you strap Tony Gonzalez though?
Tony Gonzalez, he impregnated me one time in Atlanta. We made a child.
Whoa.
Bro, he had
I bet that child was light-skinned as hell.
He had seven for 70 in the first half on me with the little option route, put the elbow on me, and I've seen you do it when you run up. But even that success that you've had, like, and you're gonna be open. Like, what's that feeling? And you're talking about like your struggles,
Yeah.
but your successes though, like that bro. We was talking about it walking in, bro. You are a big ass human. Like, if you get mad right now, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
We gotta jump
If you
him.
ran over here,
Yeah, we gotta jump him. We gotta jump him.
We gotta jump him. Like, do you put your struggles and all that? We all have struggles.
Yeah.
But then do you look at your successes and look at what you are and look
Right.
at that there is no linebacker right now, I'll tell you in the NFL, that when the coach tells him, hey, you got Darren. Huh? Excuse me? Who am I
Say-
talking
Oh, we
Safety.
doubling?
Yeah,
Safeties too.
Oh,
all of them. Corners
Hey.
too. Quarterbacks look at you like, goddamn. Like, do you understand? Can you? We talking about mental health. Can you understand that? Can you appreciate the good and the bad?
Yeah, that's important.
I'm getting better at it. I feel like things have been like bad or chaotic or crazy for so long that's what I'm used to. So it's like when good things are happening, I'm just kind of like, I still have the thought of like, oh, well, it could be like it was, like, or like, like this ain't gonna be for long. They're gonna, like I'm a fraud or something. But now I'm able to appreciate it more because it's like I feel like my character is more in alignment with the good things that are happening in my life, whereas before it was like I was lying, manipulating, like just being a demon for real. So it's like now that my character's more in line, it's like, okay, like I feel like it's authentic in my success. Like I deserve this. Like this is something that should be for me.
When you are now having come from some of the things you had to overcome, when you look back at your past life, how do you feel about that? How have you made peace with, I want to say who you were, but I guess you always are that and you fight that every day. How have you made peace with the decisions and actions of your past?
Now I'm just like gratitude, like, because if it wasn't for everything that happened, who's to say I would be right here? If you just change one detail of the story, it may not be the same.
Right.
So it's like, I'm grateful for everything that happened up until now, because now it gave me, understanding and a certain conviction of, how I want to live my life and not base it off of what the world is doing or what's cool around me. It's got to be what's healthy and what's best for me and, the legacy that I'm trying to leave.
Where do you find like the most joy though, bro? Because I think like I've obviously, never been where you are. I think we've all obsessed and been addicted to something, right? Obviously what you dealt with is at an extreme level. Where do you go though for joy? Like when you think to yourself, this is where I'm the most happy, right? What place is that?
For me, it's like being in nature. I just went this past weekend by myself. I drove up to Utah and was in
By yourself?
Yeah. I was in this place called Snow Canyon State Park, and I went to Zion National Park, which was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen in my life. I've never felt like an ant before, but in that park, like everything is just monumental, and just being there and, you know, just being in that presence, not having the noise or the technology or anything around me that I have to do. It's just me being able to be there and just be in awe of that. Like, I feel like it's nature for me and it's music.
You have an amazing story, right? It's a story of redemption, you know, of just fight, right? And people are rooting for you. Do you feel any pressures that if you go back the other way, do you feel a sense of letdown? Whether it's, you know, family, teammates, coaches, friends, therapists, do you feel any pressure from any of it? Because you have an amazing story, man.
Yeah, I have thought of that a little bit. It's like, man, because there'll be random times a day I'll have a thought where it's like, I'll see, like, I don't know, I could like get a whiff of like some gas or something and be like, oh man, shit, I can go smoke again. Like, ain't gonna be
one joint ain't gonna
that's
kill
just
me.
what my mind will tell me,
Right.
but I'm just like, I have to kind of come back. But yeah, it's like I feel like I've ran through that scenario in my mind before. It'd be like, man, like if I were to ever relapse, like, damn, like what would that be like for me to go back? But you know, it's just that's what motivates me to kind of stay in the work of the day, because, you know, as long as I stay on my path, I feel like everything's gonna work out how it should.
What are your conversations with Max like? Max Crosby, your teammate. You know, you guys had the similar challenges. What are those conversations like? Do you root for each other?
Yeah.
Do you tell each other different techniques and things to keep your mind right here and away from, you know, all that stuff?
Yeah. We read out of, you know, the same books every day, and just kind of, you know, our heads are just kind of in the same space. So of course it's just like locking in on football and everything, but it's really like wherever you are at any point in time, like while you're there, it's like putting all of your energy into just being in that place and being present and realizing that there's a lot of things that can take me out of this, a lot of, you know, self-centered things, me wanting to prove myself or me wanting to, you know, get with women or things like that. Like there's a lot of things that are pulling at our attention that we could be addicted to, different kind of behaviors, but it's just about, you know, leaning on each other, leaning on guys that are similar to us, and realizing that, you know, a lot of things that we want are really just like short-term pleasures and comforts, as opposed to like the long-term character that we want to build, or like the long-term life that we want to build.
And people that are watching this, right? They understand. They've heard about addiction, and you know, you can walk down the street and you can see a fiend, a crackhead, or whatever you want to call it, but those people don't have a lot of times the accessibility. You know, you're rich. You know what I'm saying? So I believe that it's much harder for people in your position. It's so easy for women to throw themselves at you. You know, guys, teammates, the influence from within, going out to party, and you see this and you hear these stories, but that's a whole nother fight.
Right.
You know, and they mess with me.
Especially being light-skinned, like fine people like me and you, like being so fine, like it's like everybody. Listen,
Channing, no disrespect.
RC, don't act
You are
crazy.
you guys are on two different level of
You in
attractiveness.
jungle mode.
Who? Oh, so I look better. I look better than.
No, you don't, bro.
So
Pause,
I'm
but
like
you
a 9. You a good looking dude. You like an 8. I'm
So-
a 9.
so
you know what I'm
it's
saying?
hard,
Yeah,
you know.
appreciate you, brother. Yeah.
So that's why, you know, they tease me, and I was going to say they tease me because a lot of times on this show, you know, I like to commend people, like, and they think I be sucking up. Pause. I like to commend people.
Yeah, scoot your chairs closer together.
I like to, you know, I like to commend and congratulate people on their efforts, and you know, when I recognize that they're doing good. You know, and it's not being a kiss ass or anything like that. I'm glad I didn't use the other word. But
suck up?
bro,
Pause.
Pause. But it's tough, and I think people need to understand that.
Right. Men need to do that more in general, just with
Yeah.
each other. For sure.
It's obviously, you know, your story, you come out on the other side. You know, and I spoke about it earlier. I think just from a talent level, to be that tall, be that fast, have the hands, be the route running, all of those things. When you see where you are now as a player, like aside from everything you've overcome in your personal life, when you get on the field, are you truly, because you made jokes about the safeties earlier, are you truly like, hey man, can't nobody out here hold me? Like, are you running to the huddle every time with Derek, like, say dog, if I got one-on-one, give me the rock?
Me and my personality, I'm trying to develop more into that where I can demand those things. Because before, it's like, I could still be in that mode where I'm like, well, I'm just kind of lucky to be in the league and lucky to have a job kind of mindset. And so I'm trying to break out of that. And like, I've had those conversations that need to be had with people, but usually I'm like, just kind of stay to the back because I've always been in trouble and that's just kind of been fixed in my mind. But in my mind, I believe like if one-on-one, there's anybody here, like, yeah, I'm cooking. Like, that's what I believe every time I get up there. Like, it's got to be some kind of zone. It's got to be some kind of bracket in order for them to win the rep. But as far as having that conversation with the quarterback or having that conversation with a coach, like, it's still something that's I got to work on and be like, it's not me stepping on toes or me being arrogant or nothing like that. It's just like, I want the team to go as far as it can go. And I feel like you can exhaust me as much as possible, like, but I don't want to step on people's toes because somehow in the back of my mind, I'm just like, I'm still that guy that's lucky to be here. You know what I'm saying?
You guys at the Las Vegas Raiders had what I'd consider an unprecedented year, right? You had a coach whose emails come out. One, you have a guy on your team that is gay, and there's homophobic language. There's also, they called it racial tropes in that. And then you have a first-round draft pick in Henry Ruggs, who is just truly a tragedy what happened to him, and also a life is lost. What was it like being in your locker room, and what role did you play in being a leader in that locker room this year?
Just from when those things were happening, like in back-to-back weeks, it was just like, I don't know, it kind of got to a mindset where it's like, all right, well, man, it feels like something might happen like every week now. Like what's next? And you just kind of, I don't know, it kind of makes you numb to it. But at the same time, it's like, just trying to be a leader and let guys know that it's okay to grieve these individuals. Like, we don't have to be like, all right, on to the next, like, got to forget about this because these were people that were, integral in what we were trying to build here. And people that, we cared about. So we're allowed to feel these emotions. Don't cut yourself off from feeling because then that's going to cut off from your experience in some other area of your life. Like, if you're cutting those feelings off, then you're going to go home and then maybe cut your family off or, not be able to, really focus on the game plan that week. So just allow yourself to feel everything. That's what more the role I was in as a leader.
So last year is in the bag. You got a new coach coming in, Josh McDaniels, offensive guru. He's an amazing mind. Does that excite you? Knowing that in that Patriot scheme of thing, the way they scheme up things, all the success that Gronkowski had, does that excite you? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I have. In his first day in the office, like as soon as I got back from Utah, like I went in there and was sat down and talked with him, and I'm very excited about being able to work with him and just him be able to take my game to another level. I want to be able to keep being challenged to be my best, and I feel like as far as work and doing that and improving players, him and that system is where it's at. Right?
Hey, but what's that conversation? A new head coach, he's the offensive guy, Josh McDaniels, the offensive man. Do you tell him, like, bro?
But he just said he played a back though. So
no, I'm just saying, like, that's the thing.
I use that as an opportunity for me, like when I like meditate, reflect. It's like, how do I keep growing in my life? And it's like, okay, when I meet him, let me create this open dialogue of like, okay, I'm gonna be honest about what I feel and what I want, but in a way that's not, demanding or like just being arrogant. Like, now I'm gonna use my voice and not just fade to back because I'm past that. I'm not in that stage of my life anymore. And if somebody were to hold me in that place, like that's not right. Like I'm not the dude that's just like trying to keep a job now. Like, no, now I'm trying to be the best player that this organization has ever had. Like, those are the kind of things that I want to think about now. So it's like, okay, let me establish this dialogue with this coach and let him know that, all right, there were some opportunities, there were some times last year where I could have said more, I could have done this, but I'm gonna say it now and let you know that, hey, exhaust me in every way possible because
I want to go.
Yeah,
I want to go get it. Do you like, I don't know if it's joking, but do you tell your coordinators like, 10 targets a game. Hey, 15 targets a game, coach.
going
Like,
with Shine.
you know what I'm saying? Like you like real talk. Like I play, you know, Freddie. It's the Jacksonville Fred Taylors. We talk about that all the time. Like, Fred is all that Jacksonville had, and Fred showed out. You know what I'm saying? But us playing defense, like looking at you and seeing what you do, but seeing that you're so talented.
Right.
Like that balance between being a team player and being like, coach, throw me the ball.
Right.
This dude cannot cover me. Like what's that balance as a
star.
big target, as a star. Like as what you're doing, like, what's the balance of saying like, listen, 1-on-1, I'm open. 2-on-1, I might be open, coach. like what's that balance?
It can leave me, kind of frustrated sometimes on the inside, like when I come off the field, but I don't want to, I'm somebody that never wants to step on toes or have the tough conversation, but it's like they have to be had, especially for the sake of the team winning. It's like me not being pushed to my limit, I don't think that's good enough for the team to be as great as they want to be.
Right.
Like that's the kind of player that I feel like I am, what I bring to the team. So it's like me not having those conversations where I feel like I should have, it's like it can leave me kind of on the inside like, damn, like just kind of mad at myself. Like, why don't you just say something? Yeah.
Right.
And why don't you say something?
Right.
A question
No, be
I would
honest,
have
no, bro. Why don't you say something?
That's me kind of trying to break out of my personality now. As before, it's like I don't want to step on toes. I don't want people to not approve of me. If I were to say something, like it's like in that lane that I'm trying to still unpack and overcome, so I can just say that.
Listen, RC, can we tell him, Fred? Can we tell him, bro? You're a dog. You're a monster. That's what they want. Like we joked off air about Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates and all that.
That's who he is.
Bro, you're there.
See, but you're on the defense. You don't have to ask for those reps or those plays, those opportunities. And on offense, if you're as good as he is, that's going to speak for itself. Coaches know that our success is going to come through him. So you don't have to go in there and say, hey, I need at least 15 targets a game. You know, they're going to script up what they need to script up to get him the ball. Now, the other teams are trying their best to defend that, right? And they're going to challenge him.
Well, that's why you was mad when you say you only had 15 carries in that game.
Yeah, but I didn't go in
count.
there. I didn't go in there and, Coach, I need 30.
But maybe you should.
You know, the coaches will go back. They'll go back and they'll look at it and they'll say, damn, we should have
But it's too late after you lose in the playoffs.
Look,
It's too late.
They learn.
Tennessee
the
whooped
coaches,
y'all 3 times in one
the
season.
coaches
We talked
have
about
to
it with Taylor
learn.
Lewan.
Look, I don't have to go in there and insert myself in that manner. The coaches, they went back and saw the film.
Yeah.
And the next game, I got a lot more than I can handle. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that'll speak for itself. Your talent is going to always speak for itself. You just got to show up.
You know what? People that play offense, that's the reason y'all play offense, because y'all are passive.
But but you don't want to be a prima donna. Look around the league.
Listen, Freddie, I'm telling y'all are passive.
Do you want to be one of those guys?
Pleasant guys.
Yeah.
You don't want to be one of those guys in the locker room that's known as the asshole or the crybaby. You're not getting your touches. I've never wanted to be that guy because my play, I'm competitive as hell. And that's going to speak, that's going to supersede me. It's going to speak before I even see the coach. They know what time it is.
Right.
So keep doing what you're doing.
You know, we talked earlier, you know, and I made sure to say that every day you have to get up and win. When you wake up every morning, do you set a goal of who Darren Waller is going to be that day?
I write journals, I write affirmations, I try to keep certain words and certain like principles in what I do. More so like just being honest, being of service to other people, maintaining faith no matter what circumstances look like. And I feel like if those things are, you know, in the fiber of my being for that day, like I feel like good things are gonna happen. You know, I don't try to overcomplicate it or, you know, set goals like that. Really, I just feel like it's like, how am I going to keep improving? How am I going to keep going down this road and making sure that, you know, this becomes a permanent part of my character, not needing to change the way that I feel or get the instant gratification that came from, you know, the disease that I have. Like, I'm somebody that wants things to happen right now. Like, I'm gonna get high right now and feel how I want to feel now. So I can take that into other areas of my life, and that's not a good part of my character. When I force things to happen, that's when things go bad. And you know, I just try to trust God's will in every area of my life, and like see how can I position myself in a way that I'm in alignment with that, and just go from there.
August 11, 2017, was that the biggest pivot in your life?
Easily. Like before then, there was no like thinking about any kind of legacy or thinking I'm going to be the best player on the team. I mean, I was dropping every pass they was throwing to me before then. Like
Hard when you high, bro.
yeah, and just like and out there when you like, all right, don't drop this. Like, so it's like from that shift from there allowed me to enter into a new world, a new way of thinking, a new way of just living and believing that, you know, allows me to move with confidence now and just, you know, look other people in the eye because I feel good about the way that I'm living.
I'm a fan, bro. What you do on the field in your life, I'm a huge fan. I'm rooting for you.
We appreciate you, my dog.
Yes, sir.
Thank you,
Thanks
fam.
for having me.
Yes, sir, bro.
All love, baby.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Hey, no, that was amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, guy pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, guy pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission.